And good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Collegiate Exclusive Podcast, where I'm going to be catching up on a lot of CRL stuff. It's been a busy last couple of weeks, but there is a lot to catch up on this fine Thursday. So I hope you're all doing well. TJ, my man, I hope you're doing well as well. How's it going?
Going good. It's a pleasure. It's a Thursday here in Athens. It's hot for me. The weather's good. Saw some friends from up north coming down. So, no issues for me at all. Just keeping the head down and grinding. We got lands. I got 4 weeks in a row I'm about to hit. So, here we go.
What do you have? I know we've got the SCL and EL land coming up. And then what else is there?
So, we got all roads lead to Atlanta. So, we got a Georgia College Showcase. We'll talk about it later. Then we got Volan. Very excited for Volan.
Yes.
SCL. And then on the same weekend, we have the Georgia High School State Championships. I will be coaching again. And Game Fest 2026 at Georgia Tech's new lab.
Okay, yeah, busy. At least they're somewhat close to you. At least most of them.
Yeah, they're all Georgia / Knoxville. Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. But all right, yeah, we got a lot to talk about here, and not a whole lot of time to do it. We both got places to be. I'm gonna jump in real quick with some self promo stuff, real fast. Biggest reason why I haven't followed much CRL recently. I got a new job. Full-time gig with AMG. It's a marketing firm that largely specializes in the gaming industry and influencers and content creators. I'm an accounts coordinator with them now, but that's a full-time thing. So I wanted to share that. That's what I hinted at last podcast because I was interviewing for it. But it's meant my attention has been diverted a little bit from the CRL space. So this is largely going to be a kind of reactionary stream from me, as I have not been streaming much, as I'm sure most of you know, because I've been busy with the new job as well. And I'm just going to go to my Twitter page to show off the CEN article that I also wrote for College Esports News. Highlighted several of the lands that happen in the last couple of weeks. So Boost on the Beach, obviously, with me and TJ both being there. Highlight the Tri-Cities Slam, too, being one of the major CRL lands this semester. And then I shouted out C3 as well, and Queen City Clash, because we've had some good lands so far. Not a ton. There have only been 9 by this point, TJ, but lots coming up in the next month and a half, as you were kind of hinting at with the local stuff. There's a lot of national stuff, too.
Well, it's the spring. I mean, this is what you sign up for right here. Is everything is busy. Everyone's traveling somewhere. Obviously, all of the seasons are coming to a close, crowning their champions. So, no, I mean, it's a great time to be involved in college esports. The spring is always more packed, and we have definitely been already busy this semester, but it's only getting crazier from here on out.
Well, let's look at some of the craziness. Let's start with the CRL space, because we've had Open 3 played out. I think Open 2 was being played the night we did our last podcast, the week of. I can't remember, but we're going to look at Open 3 because this is largely what sealed the fate of a lot of the last chance qualifier teams. And we're just going to kind of brush through it because the pools were small and there were a lot of TQs, as evidenced here in Pool 1. Not a great look, but at least the top teams were playing. George Mason here in Pool 1, no issue dealing with the likes of Conestoga, Southeastern Oklahoma, and South Carolina here. Nothing to really read into, except maybe South Carolina doing a little poorly here, bowing out top 4.
Well, and you want to talk about something weird. I mean, Somber just said it in chat, but Boise and ETSU just straight up deciding not to play, which I do believe that they were already eliminated by the math after Open 2, but at the same time, like, what else are you playing for to get the best national experience in? And it goes to show, and we talked about this heavily in the last episode, and even the one before that, is the open format is not good for teams. It is not good for anybody outside the top 8. So I'm glad some of these schools got some extra points, some good wins to help with their seeding. But at the end of the day, this is all for ego. This is all for power ranking. So, read into these results how you will, but we're missing some big faces.
I mean, UTD JV making a run. Although Fisher Navy, Winthrop Academy, Ole Miss, all right here. Some decently big names, but yeah, I mean, no Boise, no ETSU. Those are the squads that you would expect to be in the last chance qualifier, and I don't know why they didn't sign up. Quite honestly, those are 2 programs that you would expect to be on top of things. Although, wasn't it ETSU last semester that got screwed by a Start GG mess up and didn't end up getting enough points to play in the last chance qualifier? Did that maybe happen happen again?
Yes. Well, no, it was not a Start GG issue.
Okay.
No, there was nothing along those lines. But it was just the fact they did not show up, and I have no idea why they did not show up. I am severely confused.
Whack. Well, no Boise, no ETSU in the last chance qualifier again for 2 straight semesters now. So more confusing stuff going on in the CRL space. Sifting through these groups. I mean, there's nothing. St. Clair Gold being the top seed here. That's a little wild. San Diego State actually doing decently. Shout out to the Aztecs there. A couple of game 5s, beating Vol State Black, taking St. Clair Gold to a couple of game 5. I'd like to see that because we'll be talking about some West Coast stuff later on in the show.
Yeah, and actually, it's going to be one of the only times we've had enough West Coast stuff back to back to back to talk about in a long time. So, no, shout out to San Diego State. They are also a team who was at DreamHack Atlanta last year. Yeah. Will they be back this year? I do not know yet. A little hint, wink, wink there, depending on how some of the current teams fall through. But here's what I will say. Yeah. And again, I've been caught out on St. Clair Gold for the better and for the worst. I've been right and I've been wrong. And so I'm just going to make another point that I always do. And I'm also going to add an extra one in there. First off, St. Clair Gold being the top seed in a CRL pool in 2026 is all that you need to know regarding the state of these opens. I'm going to go ahead and say that. They're a great team, but at the same time, there is no competitor in this pool, and good for San Diego State for getting to Game 5 twice. I am very, very surprised at that. But here's what I'm even more disappointed in. This pool was seeded well. Ball State Black is right there, but they lost to San Diego State, and they lost to Shawnee. Those are absolutely non-excuse-based wins. And I know Hawks in chat, good win over Florida, but I would even make another argument that Florida shouldn't be losing that game either. So just a very odd time to be in CRL right now.
Yeah, there's a reason that I stopped doing rankings a while ago. It's partially because of getting busy and I couldn't dive in as much as I wanted, but like, Jesus, this is so hard to accurately rank with all of the trading wins. I mean, I don't know who follows the Champ League Twitter account, but like they posted a full like circle of suck where everyone in the top 16 of CRL has like they've beaten each other. Like you can make a full circle all the way around of like Indiana Tech beating Maryville, but then losing to this team, who then loses to this team, then loses to this team. Everyone has done that in a full circle. It's absurd, and it's made it so hard to keep up with CRL this semester, especially with other stuff taking precedent. But yeah, you want to talk Michigan State here? I heard the exclamation.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, like teams who have been in my DMs before and teams who have talked their smack, I'm all for it, but you can't lose. Okay, Tigres, all right, maybe take a sleeper result there. But like Charlotte, they're a good team, but they should not be losing to teams like that. And you know what? Good for Tigres. I'm glad that they found kind of their room here. But again, I'm just severely confused as to, is it a motivational issue? Is it a skill issue? Like, I wish we had replays we could watch of these games, because some of these upsets should never happen in any world.
Yeah, I mean, LCU, hey, of all the talk of the last couple of weeks, all the craziness, Lubbock Christian has actually stepped up and started taking some wins. I need to actually add, this is to remind myself, we need to add the CECC last chance qualifier to the run of show here. I forgot to put it in. But LCU's been making some waves recently, and here just losing out on winning the group, but like they might actually be finding form.
This also might be the only pool that is 100% reasonable. Like every single, well, other than the DQs, obviously. But this is a very reasonable pool. OC beats LCU. Granted, things that get a little dicey in the reset there towards the end, but still, that's a good matchup between two teams. Now, should OC be winning those more comfortably if they want to actually make something happen in the LCQ? Absolutely. But also, LCU shouldn't be losing to Bruton Parker, shouldn't be losing to Michigan State White, and they don't. They 3-0. So what a actually nice little break, a sane pool out of the mess.
A sane pool. I can't believe what we're asking for at this rate with CRL. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up. It's not in the run of show, but I think I should be able to find the CECC last chance qualifier here, because 2 spots were locked up with the LCQ, and actually it is gonna take me a second, so I'll add it in a little bit later on. But regardless, Lubbock Christian looking good. Let's jump over to the final rankings for the last chance qualifier, because this is where everyone shook out with all 3 of the opens. But these are the top 8 teams that made it. Lubbock Christian sneaking in, Boise State. I don't know, man. Not playing the third open. Both ETSU and Boise State, like they would most likely be up here in the last chance qualifier if they hadn't not played Open 3. So curious there. I don't have answers, but top 6 I think is honestly pretty reasonable. St. Clair Gold doing this out of pure spite for proving TJ wrong, and the rest of the top 6 I don't think is too surprising.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely hating just for the meme at times with this roster. I mean, you know, me and Fatal have had enough funny conversations, and I think this is now the 3rd episode it's been brought up. So no, I mean, I am rooting for them, seriously. But at the same time, like, I don't know how they're going to fare across some of the best in the nation. And I don't know if there is a single team who's built to make big changes. I think Columbia and Oklahoma Christian, unironically, are the best built for upsets to maybe make a run in the CRL CQ. I'm glad Bruton Parker is tied for the 1st seed, because I love to see a Georgia school up there. But also, like, when I look at Davenport, or this is Davenport Red, correct?
Yes.
So Davenport Red, Tigres, Lubbock Christian, like, again, great programs, but I just don't see them making upsets happening. Even George Mason, like, I'm sorry if Tihan's in chat, I don't see enough connection or enough testing games in their opens to where I feel comfortable picking them out of the bottom side of all of the best schools in the nation who have been getting battle tested every single week multiple times. If Boise State and ETSU were in the pool, all right, maybe things get a little more dynamic. Maybe losers bracket gets a little dicier. But I just don't see anything crazy. Like the only matchup I think is worth a second look in this losers bracket is LCU George Mason. I think everything else is pretty written in the sand.
Yeah. I mean, against Bruton Parker, Davenport Red might have a shot. That it was earlier in the semester, I think, that they played. But still, Davenport Red, they're a decent team. I just don't think they've got the ceiling to pull off upsets. I'm with you there. At LCU and Oklahoma Christian, you didn't say LCU. I think LCU, with the form that they're in right now, and if they're actually performing like what we would expect on paper with Beastie joining that lineup, I think they could maybe pull some upsets off. But Columbia definitely well suited as well. But so have to figure out the seating of all these fellas up here in the upper bracket that'll join the pit of open teams hungry for spots. And this is the current state of league play, which, do we know if there are any inaccuracies? I know there was an issue with the sheet and Wikipedia recently, so I want to get that out of the way.
I am cross-checking you right now, and it seems that here's actually the funny part, is the league play leaderboard that is in the like the actual master sheet, which is what I'm fact-checking you with right now. It's not organized as well as the Wikipedia is. So, like, it says that the top 4 is Northwood, Winthrop, St. Clair, Maryville, and that's from 4 to 1, not 1 to 4. But it is Fisher. Fisher is the team who currently should be in that spot. It's sorted by game differential for some weird reason, not games played and then game differential. So, what I will say is that this is very accurate, except for that Fisher spot. I think they are going to beat out Northwood for the top 4.
Okay, I mean, that's
I mean, Baylor in the hunt too.
Top 4, yeah. Baylor at 4-2 right now. There is still a lot of series left to be played, because the opens do wrap up like a month before the last chance qualifier. That is worth noting. Maybe a slight flaw with the format, with getting those top 8 teams in quotation marks, and then having them go through a whole other month of development or regression. And in the CRL scene, both are probably equally possible for these teams. And then you stick them in a bracket with these CRL league play teams that are getting their reps in with the best of the best every single week. But Wichita State, unfortunately, at the bottom here. Let's see who they beat. I actually haven't kept up. A win over Cumberland. Is that right? They beat Cumberland in 5.
I am triple checking right now. I do believe that is wrong. I thought that Cumberland won that game in 5, but I could be wrong. I'm double checking the Discord right now, because again, and I'm just gonna get on a little high horse while we're checking real quick. The people who are managing the sheets and the people who are managing the Wikipedia page, something is missing in terms of communication, because I have watched days go by where neither one is updated, but yet results get imported and recorded and even posted by Champ League. So I'm checking the Discord right now because it's the only thing that's trustworthy. And from what I am seeing, I see a Cumberland. Let's see, Wichita State, Cumberland. I'm still
Hot
looking,
Shot
still
says it's
scrolling.
accurate. Is on the
Is it
main stream
accurate?
apparently, yeah.
How long ago? That must have been a little bit ago.
For those that joined late, I did say this at the beginning of the stream. I've not been able to follow the CRL scene really at all the last couple of weeks with starting a new job. So this is a pure reactionary broadcast from me. March 15th is what Liquipedia says. And yeah, reverse sweep. Shout out Boone and the boys, man. I mean, Cumberland, they'll rebound for sure, but man, Wichita State, dude. I mean, that's the sort of win that you can actually like look back on, ignore the potential 14 other losses if things continue to go this way, and you're like, man, that was our series. You did that on the mainstream.
Well, and also, like, Cumberland, I think, and Hotshot will probably agree with this. Cumberland is a team that's built for the LCQ. I mean, they put Hotshot in, they make a huge roster change within the house, and now they get the time to keep scrimming, keep worrying, or not worrying, keep working, and you get kind of all of these scrims in CRL. Nobody gets eliminated. You just have to worry about the LCQ. So Cumberland, I think, only is getting better every single week, again, with Hotshot being a new roster move. I'm not concerned about them at all. If anything, and again, I hate being the mean guy on stream, but it's a pity win for Boone and them. They are good enough to make a run in the LCQ. Like they're not going to lose to a lot of those teams in the LCQ who are coming from the opens. I don't know if they lose to any of the teams in the opens, even at OC part 2 or 3 for them again. I don't know if they lose to them, but in terms of the grand scheme of CRL, this is scrim. It's scrim time for them.
Yeah, fair enough. Getting ready for the last chance qualifier. But can we talk about Concord and the post that went out that everyone saw for a second before it got deleted, that they were FFing CRL entirely because of the internet situation? Like, I don't know how much you can say on that, TJ, but like, what on earth? I've never seen anything.
Well, yeah,
like
let's
that.
talk. Let's talk about it. So, inside scoops, right? I specialize in a little bit of player relation. I dabble, if you will. So, there's 2 schools now, one private that we won't talk about, and one public that we will talk about, who have said, hey, we're not going to play CRL because of GPA issues. And then all of a sudden, things turn the corner, and oh my God, we're playing CRL. So, here's what I will say about those 2 schools. The one who did it privately, they did it right. Because no matter what's going on in-house, if you're going to try and pull some BS and you're going to try and pull something with a GPA, whether it's a test makeup or saving them or something like that, you handle it all privately. Here's the issue with Concord. And again, I'm going to bite my tongue slightly, but I'm going to give a little bit of insider input here. With Concord being a small school, being about less than 2,000 people, there is nothing abnormal with Europeans transferring in and struggling in school. That's the same issue across CRL. They're at a small school. Things happen. But here's what I will also say about all small schools in CRL, Concord included. GPA changes and flips can happen at the snap of a director, at the snap of a president, at the snap of any professor's finger. So Concord had a misunderstanding, to what I understand, and what I would put my money on is that Concord had some students have a misunderstanding with the professor, and that is why they originally thought that was going to be the end of the season. And then from what I understand, things have been worked on, and now all of a sudden they can play again, and now that tweet is deleted. But obviously I saved it and sent it to BIPic, so we were able to pull it up because I'm a journalist at heart. So
we save pictures on Twitter here.
That's all I got. That's all I got in terms of insider info. I knowing that Crispy, my boy Sean, and Chase Helix are CS majors. I know their professors. I know the issues that they've had with said professors. I think it was a professor-related issue, and I don't think it was the player's fault. But there is a narrative that should be pushed about Europeans in school because it's not a good mix.
Definitely is an adjustment, but yeah, that's another. Yeah, I mean, you're right. The other program. I mean, we've seen this same thing with Concord because they have forfeited their NACC matches. But I mean, I don't think it's any secret that Indiana Tech had Chippy subbing in for NACC for similar reasons, and they've played the NACC with Chippy and actually done extremely well. So what I'm saying is we need to give Taylor a shot in the starting lineup again for Concord. Just like we saw.
You think his
Chippy
GPA is any better? Yeah, Chippy's GPA is good. I believe that if he were to tell me that.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe we'll keep Taylor on the academic bench. But regardless, really strange situation. I'm glad they got it sorted, because that would have been so bizarre to have them forfeit CRL. Like, in contention the last several semesters, they won CRL now a year and a half ago. So it would have been weird not to have Concord, but that's the state of CRL right now. We're shaping things up. I'll show the table one more time for gearing up to give those top 4 spots away for the spring championship, because the race is extremely tight. I mean, I think reasonably, well, Cumberland being at 5 losses is tough. Akron Gold, if they stay hot, they can still make a run up there. 5 losses, you're probably close to out of contention. Davenport being at 4 already is maybe putting them out, but like still top 7, very much in the running for the top 4. So love to see that for the entertainment of CRL. Make sure you catch the streams on a weekly basis. But that's CRL right now. It's gonna be a crazy April. TJ, got any final thoughts on the big league?
No, I mean, the only thing is I think 3 losses is the current money number. I don't think 4 is going to be safe enough at this rate. And there's only a few kind of big name matchups coming down the line. Like Ball State and Baylor have not played. Maryville has not played Fisher. And I'm looking down the line. Northwood has not played Baylor. Northwood has also not played Maryville. From what I believe I'm aware of. So there's still too much that hasn't happened yet for me to throw a prediction on, but I'm going to do it anyways. Baylor does have the head-to-head over Fisher, and both those teams I think are going to be hot enough in the next month. Fisher is the hotter team right now, but I don't know if they are quite ready for top 4. But if they even glimpse in the LCQ, they're going to destroy everybody. It's going to be a really good national championship.
Again, we've just gotten more and more competitive every single semester in CRL. So shout out, of course, to the big league. But real quick, I referenced it earlier, and I have managed to find the CECC Last Chance qualifier bracket, and it's fairly big, so we're gonna touch on it real fast. Top seed was Cumberland, and they had no issues until they got 4-0 swept by LCU. And I was watching this closely for SEL and NEL purposes, actually. So LCU also beat Bruton Parker on their side of the bracket too, to then run and make a win in the entire bracket. So they're finally actually applying themselves, it seems like. TJ, they like the underachieving kid that was threatened with like not being able to go to college, or like being held back, and they're like, all right, got to get my stuff together. And finally, for the end of the semester, LCU's actually getting it together.
Well, and I'm really happy for both these schools. I know that I didn't speak highly about LCU talking about the CRL LCQ, but I actually am very excited for them at Texas, because if LCU is going to be a team worth talking about in the future, they need to be a LAN team, and they need to have upsets to their name. And so what do? You go and you beat Cumberland, and then on the other side of things, a very, very random Mount Aloysius 4-3 over Wichita State. I think the LCU win over Cumberland is 10 times more believable than the Mount Aloysius win compared to Wichita State. Now, what I also will say is a 4-3 Mount Aloysius ETSU into a 4-3 Mount Aloysius Wichita State, that is one of one for them. And I really, really do hate it that they didn't end up beating LCU in that final. But triple game 7s, or I mean, what can you do?
This is a legit run from Mount Aloysius. Like, beating UTA is a good start, and then you upset ETSU, then you upset Wichita State, and then go to 7 with a seems like peaking Lubbock Christian. So Mount Aloysius, I mean, we knew they were good already, and I think we can figure out where their ceiling is based on their players. I mean, Skippy by himself is RLCS talent. Pig B, I think, will be RLCS talent, at least like day 3 open quals pretty consistently here in the next little bit, honestly. And then Locke as well, we're getting to know a lot. So Mount Aloysius, good team. And this actually does qualify them for CECC. There were 2 spots that were being given here in the LCQ. And so Mount Aloysius is going to CECC, which actually, for the Northeastern Esports League, which gets a bid in, our top 3 teams were Akron Gold, Indiana Tech, and Mount Aloysius. Akron Gold got one of the regional bids to CECC. Mount Aloysius got the LCQ bid now. Indiana Tech can't make the land, so they're not going to grab it. So there's going to be a bit of a random-ish team that's going to be qualifying to CECC thanks to the NEL because of these better team qualifications. So there are ramifications here.
Yeah, I mean, I did not know that the LCQ was 2 spots. I'm so used to it only being 1. I mean, when Concord qualified through the LCQ, it was only 1 spot because they had to beat Bruton Parker in Game 7. I believe that was last year. So you know what? Fair play. Good on CECC for adding some spots. And I'm also glad you mentioned the NEL because there's always at least one random team or maybe even more at CECC. I think this will be one of the more competitive CECCs, but yeah, there's definitely going to be some polar bears in Arlington, Texas. Or Waco, Texas.
Might be Huskies, honestly. NIU in the NEL potentially. We'll see what happens.
That would not be a polar bear. That would not be a polar bear.
But we do have to move on to the NECC. It's my favorite time of year in the NECC because instead of having 7 tabs open, I only have to have 3 open thanks to playoffs. But let's look at Division 1 real fast because things are strangely normal in Division 1 NECC, and this is what we got. I mean, Concord, yeah, they forfeited just like they said they were going to. St. Clair, they beat Indiana Tech in 7. Northwood beat OC, and then Davenport beating Akron Gold, probably the craziest result out of those 4. But then Akron Gold in the lower bracket beating Oklahoma Christian to then move on. So it gets a little bit weird, but I have a feeling that NECC is going to be the league of one of Fisher, Northwood, and St. Clair. It's probably going to be whoever takes it the most serious.
Well, and also, if you were wondering where Concord went and why they didn't forfeit CRL, there are very 2 big FFs in the NECC. So I think Concord made a business decision here to let that league go. And it probably has something to do with the rules about competition in NECC. So fair play to Fisher not having to worry about that game, and good for Indiana Tech, a free win down there as well. I am pretty not shocked at this pool. I believe by the standings, it is almost exactly as CRL, where you have Fisher, St. Clair Green, Northwood. They're the easy favorites, and even Davenport Black. They're above Akron Gold. And if I had to put money on it, they're probably going to be within 1 or 2 spots of each other in the group stage. And probably even close in the LCQ from one another. So nothing, in my opinion, that's overly shocking. And even the Akron Gold OC win yet. We have to see a point where OC looks like they can be a CRL team. They've only showed it 1 time, and that was beating Indiana Tech in Tri-City, or in Johnson City in the Tri-City Slam in grand finals. That's the only time OC has shown they are a CRL caliber team. Outside of that, they keep falling short. So got to get back to the drawing board for them, but we get another CRL bracket pretty much right here. And I'm pretty excited to see that Fisher St. Clair game. And I think it will be them 2 in Northwood.
I mean, that was the biggest draw of the NECC this semester, is the fact that Division 1 is the closest to like the top 16 of CRL that it kind of ever been. I mean, all 16 teams that qualified, maybe save for Cleveland State and Carthage towards the end of it, were legitimate top 32 teams. And that's the best that any league can boast. Even NACE's Super Conference isn't quite there when it comes to the quantity of teams that are competing. So love to see this from NECC, and make sure you tune into their main streams every Wednesday, I think it is. But Division 2, this is actually insane, TJ. I don't know if you've seen this bracket yet, but I saw it when I was prepping this. And you know how we've been hyping up East B with Winthrop Academy, South Carolina, Florida Southern, Parker Academy, Daytona State. And they come out here and they lose 3 of the 4 matches in round 1.
Yeah, I am quite surprised. Again, another team that is unreadable, unrankable is Fisher Navy. They have looked not like a top 32. They've looked at the bottom of top 48 for most of the semester. And now all of a sudden now the Bruton Parker Orange win, okay, that one's believable. That's a team that you can expose. That one makes sense. But Conestoga, I mean, that one going to 7, I think is fair. But Fisher Navy looking at a Daytona State game, and honestly, they might be the favorites in that match. I don't know. I don't know. With these wins now and Daytona State only having to play Charlotte and Fuel, I don't know. If I was looking at NECC only perspective, I think I'm picking Fisher in game 6 or 7 right now. But in my heart, I want Daytona State to win. I think they've been the more consistent team all year, but by raw potential, by experience, I mean, going roster for roster, player for player, I think I would pick Fisher Navy.
I mean, you can't just look at it with an NECC lens, though. You have to look at elsewhere what's gone on, because Daytona State, I mean, they've got pretty similar resumes with their wins and eye test resumes in other leagues as well. I mean, in NECC too. Like, they've both been streaking at the end. Fisher Navy and their group were streaking at the end. Daytona State were streaking at the end. In the SCL, Daytona State have looked like a top 4 team in the Southeastern Esports League too. And I mean, even in CRL qual, Daytona State will have an open where they go on a run. Fisher Navy will have an open where they go on a run, or they trade having bad losses. I think they're pretty even with each other. And honestly, I think even with the rest of East B sucking in NECC playoffs, I think Daytona State are going to right the wrongs of their group. I think they win this whole thing.
And you know, again, I want to root for that. I think Game 6 or 7 is absolutely where this series is going. I would be shocked if this is a blowout by any means, and I hope that's being streamed. I'm not sure if that's going to be a U job or a one of the schools' job, but I really do hope that one is streamed and casted to a T, because that is a huge matchup. Also, Daytona State still has some lands on the roster. They may be coming back to the Southeast for another major LAN, so I'm always going to root for them. Then we'll see how they do for the rest of the month. They better stay hot going into May. That's all I'll say for now.
For real. I mean, April into May, that's when you want to be peaking as a team, with all the lands, all the championships, all the playoff brackets coming up. So hopefully they are ready for that. But we'll look at the West Central playoffs as well, because shout out the 7 and 8 seeds here. GCU and Illinois are in the winners finals. How about that?
Well, I think the reason why the top side of the bracket more even than it looks, that one makes more sense. But what happened to Indiana? 0-4? I am absurdly confused at that result against GCU. It's not a great first round poll. GCU is a team that has been trained in the past and has had good moments, but man, Illinois, that's a little bit of a shock. But I believe that is Peaceful's team, is it not?
Sir, always has been.
Okay, that makes sense. Then I will give Indiana, or not, Illinois, I mean, the benefit of the doubt. I think that's their match to lose. I'm not gonna lie, but good on GCU for getting to the winners final there.
Yeah, and Hawk's saying in chat that Indiana disbanded, so I do want to see what lineup they showed up with here. Pablo MST and so I don't know who the third is here. I assume Coda was playing, but
it should be Coda.
That's 2/3 of the starting lineup, so they were at least mostly there for their matchup against GCU. But yeah, I do love that Illinois has moments like this, and it's normally in like CCS where they'll make a run. But the fact that it's happening in NECC and beating A&M, like, that's a good win. Illinois State, that's a good win as well. That's Miller and the boys. And so, you know, Illinois, we always refer to them as Peaceful's team, but like, they are still a good team, and they deserve some flowers when they have a run like this. But Southeastern Oklahoma, I was big on them at the start of this semester, and now they're struggling a little bit. And that's the world of CRL we live in right now. It's so volatile. Like, we just have teams that'll go through weeks of down periods, and then they'll be up, and then they'll be down again. It's so hard to predict.
Well, it also is a miserable bracket pull. I mean, let's be honest. I think out of all of the teams you could pull, if you are Southeastern Oklahoma State, I mean, you're looking at a full-strength Indiana, maybe a full-strength GCU, and then the next biggest issue, the next biggest player to worry about is Peaceful out of the rest of the teams. And so Illinois, again, they are a more balanced team than I'm saying. I'm not trying to refer to them as only Peaceful's team. But that's a really bad first round pull for them. So loser's bracket, I think, will favor them. That Indiana Southeastern Oklahoma State match, I'm expecting that to be the two teams that make it through. I think that could be a big sleeper matchup, and GCU is in for a tough one.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, Peaceful's team, anyone in chat, can you name the other two players on Illinois' roster? I will give you 10 seconds to type the other two players that's on Illinois' roster in. Because I want to see if I remember. Okay, Hotshot's got Prism. I was gonna say Juicy Berg and Prism, but let's see how well I know. TJ, do you wanna take a stab at it?
Don't even come my way.
All right, they're saying Silk as well. Oh, I gotta go to one where they actually checked in, because they've got a ton of players.
I didn't even know Silk was on that roster.
Stress XO.
He's not.
Okay, yeah, I don't.
Go to the Epic. Click on the Epic, or the Steam, one or the other.
Stress. Yeah, Stress.
Okay, yeah, I got
Shout
nothing.
out Stress. Let's go. Peaceful and Juicyberg, I did get, but The third. Oh man, what's happened with Prism? Did Prism graduate? I missed that
I
guy.
Shoot, I wish I was more of a West Coast studied analyst. I've missed out on some semesters in the West Coast, I guess,
That's all
because
right.
that's not even the first Prism I think of in CRL. I'm
Yeah,
thinking of
fair.
Kaiser's first.
Well, let's keep it on the West-ish coast, more Midwest, honestly. And this actually is a Midwest event that we're about to talk about. That oh, actually, I had NACE next up. I don't care. We're switching to Midwest. I already teed it up. There we go. Land of the Midwest. This is sent to me by Real Albedo, Oklahoma coach. That Southern Nazarene University is hosting a LAN towards the end of April. It's on April 25th. You can't see it in the top left, but if you are in the area of like Dallas, Oklahoma, Kansas, that sort of general vicinity, make sure you check out this LAN. We're trying to promote that because I mean we've got UTD Senior Center that'll be playing there. UTD JV involved. Oklahoma State, Southeastern Oklahoma State, Oklahoma will be there. They love to travel for a good LAN, and then Wichita State not quite signed up yet, but looks like they will be. So actually, you know, a decent looking event for those that are out in that literal Midwest part of the U.S. So do go check that out because they get a surprising amount of LANs. TJ, like UTD's hosting events. You got the University of Oklahoma hosting events. Southeastern Oklahoma State, now Southern Nazarene. Pretty like an oasis out in the west of LAN events.
Well, and also big credit to Southern Nazarene. I have a huge amount of respect for schools who are willing to host LANs, but then invite teams that are very tenured and very experienced. I've seen so many schools and so many big name schools in our space too host LANs and then purposely try to invite lesser teams so that their team makes it to a grand final. But with all due respect to Southern Nazarene's Rocket League team, we're talking about UTD. We're talking about UTD JV. Shoot, we might have even talking about the JV roster above them. Wichita State Black, huge sleeper roster. I mean, obviously you're pulling up the rest of them too. But all, yeah, I mean, I wish them the best of luck. Big but names, they invited teams that are good. Oklahoma in this mix. There's a team on the left. I forgot. Oh yeah, Southeastern Oklahoma State, obviously. There's some really talented teams here. I think there's going to be a pretty competitive top 5, top 6.
I mean, on paper, like who's the? I mean, Wichita State is obviously the.
Forgot about Wichita State.
The best, but you know, there's no telling. Maybe we get one of these teams popping off, like Oklahoma in the SCL. They took Cumberland to Game 5. If Hotshot, you want to comment on that? But you know, some decent teams. UTD's got to get their stuff together if they're going to be competitive here. Unfortunately, they've been struggling lately. But UTD JV, on the other hand, maybe they pop off, make a top 2 run. That'd be something.
There's 1,000 ways this could go. I mean, Wichita State has not exactly, in my opinion, been a LAN team ever in their history. So why not say that something crazy could happen? I mean, it is the Midwest. What else is going on out there outside of esports and competition? So I'm excited to see.
For real. All right, let's move along to NACE. This was to qualify for their LAN in Orlando. They had how many teams is this? Like 32 team playoff, I think so. And I don't have the pretty graphic. I'm just gonna go through the groups that we had, and maybe while you're talking, I'll grab that graphic for the bracket. But this is the NACE postseason top 8. Make it to Orlando. It's not cropped properly. Everyone give me just a second here. But top seed overall, West Virginia. They had no issues qualifying. They beat Shawnee State, who actually beat Conestoga. Like Shawnee State, you know, before we get to West Virginia, of course, Shawnee State is actually starting to turn a corner, like far too late in the semester, unfortunately, but they're actually getting some decent wins. Maybe they finally, maybe Spooky had all the pressure off his shoulders. He's about to graduate, you know, it doesn't matter as much anymore, and boom, that's when the results start coming in.
Well, and also, they did keep that West Virginia series fairly close. I mean, I think it was 1 overtime, I think a 1-goal game, and then the last game was like a 3 or 4 game blowout. So yeah, I agree with there. I mean, and also the win over Conestoga, that's an underrated win for that program. And even though NACE has them rated closely together, I don't know if many analysts would have them too close together. So big credit to Slayer and the guys. I know that they're begging for me to invite them to DreamHack Atlanta very heavily, and they're a few spots out from getting invited. So they're gonna, even though their season's over and Spooky's graduating, we will see a new recruit come in for Shawnee State, and I am very excited for the future of the program. And at least they got Spooky some high note wins at the way out.
I think it was announced, actually, their newest Rocket League player. I don't know much about him. I don't remember the name off the top of my head. I have to pull up the tweet in a second now that I've brought it up live, but I'm pretty sure they have announced Indicator is the new player. What do we know about Indicator? I'm not a ranked grinder like you, TJ.
Yeah, so Indicator is, from my memory, Indicator has been rank A as of recently. I did not know he was a KBM player. Thank you, Chippy. But yeah, he's rank A. He is unironically, I'm going to go ahead and say it today on April 2nd, 2026. Indicator is the best player on that roster by a mile. And he will change them. He will change them overnight. Now, granted, this is also what's great about Shawnee State is you've got players like Taco Stash, you have players like Slayer, and even Duckworth when he was there. Like, you have well-coached players. Slayer is a professional coach in his spare time and his history in the scene. So they will be ready to go. They will be A-okay. But Indicator will be carrying at times, and I'm excited to see them actually get better scrims now. They're going to be back in the top 32, top 48. I would assume that team should be a lock for the top 32 based on paper stats alone. And they should be mentally in a good spot. I mean, Slayer's got a good history. Indicator rank A, he's got good results. I really do think that they have a lot moving in the right direction for them, but we'll see.
All right, back to the bracket here. Hopefully we'll see Shawnee State back on land next semester. But Ball State's group, and this was a pretty stacked group, honestly. George Mason and James Madison, the next two seeds. But Ball State had no issues qualifying. This is kind of expected of them at this point to be playing on land in Orlando. Same for Cumberland's in this group. They get out over Florida Southern. No issues for them. Baylor, another top seed. All the super conference rosters are taking care of business. Leslie looks like put up a fight, took a game here, but I mean, stop me if you want to talk about something, TJ, but these are all kind of standard groups, maybe outside of this one.
Well, and Winthrop was seeded so low because they don't play with Garrett and they didn't get a single win in the super conference, I do believe. So if Winthrop would have actually not been as bad, I don't want to say bad. Okay, Garrett actually played. Did not know that Garrett actually played this series.
Just for playoffs.
Yeah, well, I love Winthrop. I love Josh to death, but unfortunately, I do think you kind of deserve to lose and not make the land if you're not going to play your full starting roster for the entire season of a league that you pay thousands of dollars for. So good for St. Clair. I'm very excited to watch them go to work.
Apparently there's some drama that we're probably going to get filled on as if I know my Twitch chat well. So
we are about to get to that series and talk about it.
I don't know. Let's get to it.
So Boone had a tweet that he put out regarding something with a rule issue. I don't know. I believe it was something with the UTA game before they even started that matchup. I'm gonna obviously do some side journalism with our lovely chatters. If you're on Spotify and you're listening, this is a really good time for me to plug. Make sure you come to the Twitch chat. So we stream live at twitch.tv/MrBepic and DJTJ RL, and where you can be involved live. But as they are, giving me some extra journalism on the side, which I am now about to read it off. Not word for word, Hotshot. I won't accidentally reveal anything too crazy. But what I will say is, what a crazy win for ETSU. This is a severe punching above their pay grade and reverse sweep.
Dang. Okay. Reverse sweep over Wichita State here, and this is also why I have no issues with this podcast becoming sort of reactionary for me with less time investment in the CRL scene, because we've got such a good base of fans. All of you listening right now, I love reading Twitch chat while this podcast is going on. I think I probably learn more from Twitch chats than I do before the podcast. But do we have a verdict on what happened here?
Yes. All right. So you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So this is all wording from Boone. I'm not sure if this was sent privately or in a friend's server or something like that. So I'm not gonna read over everything. I'm gonna kind of skim here. Okay. So it actually says that Wichita. It says they were up 2-1 in the series. So we're talking about going into Game 4.
Makes sense.
And then it says it was 1-1, and we had a player DC. Boone called a pause. ETSU said don't care, and then Boone tried to reset it to 1-1 because he had match admin. And then they called NACE admin asking for an FF.
Ooh.
And so after a 30-minute pause where Boone was forced to stay in lobby for TOs to have chat proof, they then got the game 4 win. I believe that's correct. And then it says that they've then changed their game plan in the 30 minutes. Obviously, ETSU did not have to stay in the lobby, so they got to go and replay review, and they have Skyline with them in person, so no surprise there. And then it says that even though their attempt at manipulating the rulebook was wrong, this is a quote, and the admin said we were right to set it 1-1, end quote. And then Boone mentioned that, you know, him getting iced, and then them having their coach there to go ahead and change the full game plan in game 4 and game 5. That really sucks. So here's what I will say before we talk about it. Shout out to the journalists in the chat. Shout out to Chippy. Shout out to Hotshot, who actually sent it to us. And also shout out to them all being friends with Boone, who I'm sure they talk about this and so much more. Thank you to the chat. You guys are incredible. A little extra, maybe players of the week for our chat. Team of the week right there. All right, now let's talk about it.
First of all, shout out to them being friends with Boone is a crazy calm. Okay, for his vocal.
Well, I didn't mean it like that.
No, I get it. I know what you meant, but like for as vocal as Boone is, he's a good guy. Everybody, I've hung out with him multiple layers. He's a good dude.
Agreed.
But that is kind of crazy. And then I guess that bleeds over into game 5, and it ends up being a 1-0 win for ETSU. So that sucks. I'd be so ticked off after a series like that, especially sitting in lobby for a half hour. Yeah, that's rough, and that's why it pays to know the rule book. It pays to know your tools, I guess, because you can. I mean, there are tools for like having chat logs. Like if you have Carl up during a series, the lander tool. I guess this is only going to be the case for a few more weeks, but you can have chat logs when a lobby is live, and it's saved as well. But what do we have? We got this is Karma against Wichita State, says T-Han. Not going to the U10 Conference Championship. Be able to play online.
He might be fighting an uphill battle in this chat. This is a Boone-sided chat.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. This is why I love Twitch chat right here. We're learning a lot right
They're
now.
They're having a side conversation.
Well, this is if you are a Spotify listener, there is the chat in the top right. You can turn video on Spotify. I do upload that. So, but definitely do join us live. It's a much better time reading Twitch chat that way. But yeah, all right. ETSU, they qualify for the Orlando NACE-LAN alongside the other top 7 seeds. ETSU was seed 9. That was the one upset in the qual matches. Fisher qualled as well over Bruton Parker. We didn't mention that. I don't think we kind of needed to, but that's what's happening at NACE right now.
I'm not going to add anything else. I think it's safe I keep my mouth shut.
PCL it is. And this is still, there's nothing really going on in PCL except for one series that I do want to point out. At George Mason, Syracuse, Game 5 win for the Orange. And what that actually does for the standings down here is in the group of death, East 3. Hold on, let me crop. You can see we got ourselves a 3-way tie for first here. George Mason, Syracuse, and Fisher Navy all go 6-1, which I think is the best outcome for a stupidly seeded group.
Yeah, I mean, eventually you would like to think that the powers that be in college esports would wake up and use their eyes, whether they only have 1 or 2 or none, maybe even their ears, and, you know, learn about the scene and seed correctly. But unfortunately, this is now year 6 billion of PCL and play versus related leagues not seeding correctly. We've seen it in high school. We've seen it in college. We've seen it in all different games. This is no surprise. But here's what I will say. Even though this is a poorly seeded group, Syracuse have got to stand their ground and show everybody that they are a CRL team. And they cannot afford to suffer, and they cannot be the worst team coming out of their group. And whenever that playoff bracket gets revealed, I haven't seen it yet if it is revealed. Okay, well then we'll see what happens. But Syracuse have a big chip on their shoulder. And if anything, the fact that they did still survive and tie in the top of that group, they should be A-okay in playoffs. But man, you better not perform worse than Fisher Navy and George Mason, Syracuse. Good luck to you.
Yeah, I think top 3 teams make it to the PCL playoffs if memory serves. So they should all be safe, and their seeding will be kind of screwed depending on how that shakes out. I don't know the tiebreakers. I honestly don't care until the playoff bracket comes out, but we'll see the ramifications of that here in a little bit. And on the ECAC side, their playoff bracket is out. And TJ, how jazzed are you for this playoff bracket?
Oh, can I let it breathe for a second?
Yeah,
like, can I? Okay, so I think if you were to go and take a look at the Titans, can we actually hold on? I think we need to backtrack and look at the Titans like group first, because there is something missing. There's some sort of statements. Like, did Concord forfeit out of ECAC? They must have.
They were supposed to have. Isn't that what they said they were going to do? Oh, man.
I don't know. I mean, again, they're a school who all of a sudden decided they can play CRL, but they can't play anything else. I mean, what the heck? So I don't know what. I guess they must have forfeited out. Okay, so that explains a little bit of the top heaviness, and also, unfortunately for ECAC, the skill gap in that group is severe. And also, you saw the website BIPic tried to pull up. Collegiate Esports leagues and websites, guys, please make it comprehensible. This is still not comprehensible. It's just a little weird, but it's better than most. So I guess Concord must have dropped out. But also, there's these teams. This is not the teams that we saw in that playoff bracket, I don't believe.
Oh, well, now you're making me... All right, everyone, let's take a mental picture.
You're going to go back again.
Oh, yeah, because Oklahoma Christian is in the playoff bracket.
Well, and also, I thought that I saw, like, UAB or something like that.
No, it's not UAB. You probably saw UAG, which is Akron Gold.
Oh, yeah, let's abbreviate wrong. That makes perfect sense.
Well, I mean, that's proper. Like, University of Akron Gold and then University of Akron Blue.
Okay.
It was UAB.
Throw a dash in there, man. Throw a dash. Okay, all right. Well, let's get back to it then. Am I jazzed for the playoff bracket? You know what? I'm actually going to go with a non-negative approach. I actually am kind of excited for this bracket. Is it seeded wrong because of the way that teams treat ECAC and all of that? Absolutely. Ball State being the 1 seed, good for them. There is only one league where Ball State has a right to talk smack across the nation, and it is ECAC, because they have won multiple ECAC titles over the last 2 to 3 years. Other than Concord coming in and sniping a few in the meantime. But I am very excited for Akron Gold. I think they are in a very, very fortunate spot, and I think they can make the grand final. But man, Ball State Cumberland, Hotshot, can you give us some help here? What happened there?
Well,
How's Cumberland
I'm
the 8th
pretty
seed?
certain in ECAC, Cumberland does not play with their starting roster like at all. This might be the league where they mess with rosters the most. I mean, and this is where following CRL for a normie fan is so difficult, because you have to kind of know what leagues these teams are taking seriously. And in ECAC, it's pretty much just Ball State and Akron and Mount Aloysius that take it seriously, quite honestly. All right, Chili's in chat. Maybe you can tell us if Oklahoma Christian takes it seriously too. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Ball State and Akron Gold is the obvious choice for grand finals here, considering everything going on. But we'll see who actually turns up for playoffs, because there's a reason why we always kind of glaze over the group stage of ECAC and PCL, because no one's really giving it 100%. I mean, if we're talking about NACE and NECC not being taken seriously by a lot of teams, then PCL and ECAC are definitely not taken seriously by a lot of teams, and it's kind of showing in that playoff bracket.
Well, and again, I hope that because it's playoffs and because there's lands and there's all that on the line, I hope we do see these schools lock in, because if those 8 schools show up with their full starting rosters, then things are going to get close. There's a lot of storylines in that bracket. Like, Ball State has been, in my opinion, based on what I see in analysts, like, I think Ball State's been pretty slept on all year, and even last year, and maybe even the year before that. Ball State needs a major signature land win or something outside of the state of Indiana, which is all that I get to see them post about nowadays. So I'm rooting for Ball State. But also I root for teams who aren't in CRL, like AOC, who we're still waiting on these big wins, these big league matches, to let them prove that they are a top 16 and maybe even better than that in the nation. Also for Cumberland as well. Let's see. He says that we're going to play Ball State with our main roster. Okay, great. That should be a cinema matchup. I hope that all of these schools are streaming, or maybe at least the players are streaming. I'll be trying to tune into as much of those as I can.
And Chili says that the bracket isn't serious as long as you make playoffs. So I'm guessing that means he's going to take it. They're taking it seriously now that it is the postseason.
But now the
so,
seating's messed up
yeah,
because of
I
that.
mean, I guess you play whoever's in front of you. And for schools like Cumberland, Ball State, Akron, and Oklahoma Christian, like they're used to playing teams of this caliber,
True.
whether it's in round 1 or grand finals. I don't think it really matters for them.
Yeah, just bragging rights.
That's how CRL goes, and because no one is really looking. No one wise in the scene is really looking at where you go out in a bracket. They're looking at the teams that sent you out and the teams that you beat to get as far as you did in the bracket. At least most people should be. You and I know too. But that's another thing. So I agree with kind of the sentiment of with all the leagues that we're playing in. Fair enough. You got school to worry about on top of it. But any more strong opinions on PCL and CAC?
Politically a lot, but not for the podcast.
All right, and Chili has clarified that they do play serious, but they don't scrim before it, like
makes
CRL.
sense.
So yeah, they're playing to win, but it's not at the same level as CRL. So
that's fair.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's move along. We got some West Coast shout outs to deliver here. Shout out to Arch. He was DMing us some links to the CWCS we've already covered. But we're going to cover again because it's deeper into their season here, as they have a big finals coming up here in a little bit. I believe it's hosted by San Diego State, and I'll confirm that in a second. But Invitational 2, I wanted to look at this because they've got decent teams here in the West Coast. Like top 6 are all pretty solid: Weber State, Arizona, Colorado, CSUN, San Diego State, and UCLA. But UCLA winning here, TJ. I don't know much about UCLA, I'll be honest. Are you up on these boys? Scrumpy, drawn, and
Frenchman.
Talent? Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Scrumpy and from a ranked perspective, these names sound familiar. I believe that a lot of these players are sitting right around the 2K-ish, 2.1-ish level, at least at the top. And so maybe UCLA is a team we've slept on. Maybe we missed that. Maybe, again, my West Coastness is not as caught up as it needs to be. I mean, Colorado's a team with a very storied history. No shock that they were in contention there. But I will say, I mean, Arizona, I mean, a very, very disappointing loss against Colorado, and they got punished for it miserably, having to play San Diego State in losers' quarters. I mean, only so much you can do there. But, man, tough loss for San Diego State. What a run it would have been through losers there.
Apparently, Archie's saying that SDSU played with their sub for this, so I guess that is worth noting. Oh yeah, DNP next to Sean, and
I don't know who their sub is,
but still, hey, you know, UCLA coming on top of that field, it's pretty good for them, and there is more to the CWCS. I know they got Invitational 3 coming up this weekend, actually, April 4th and 5th, and they got a last chance qualifier to qualify for LAN, and the finals will be hosted offline. Okay, this is at Long Beach, my bad, not San Diego State. So pretty decent competition here. I mean, seeing these teams on LAN, you don't get a lot of LANs on the West Coast. So the fact that we have a grassroots regional league out there is something that we really do need to highlight. Like, as much as we highlight the SEL, the NEL, C3, the Midwest events, the state tournaments, you gotta look at the West Coast stuff too. So shout out to the CWCS and everyone that's running it here. Shout out the trio here.
Well, and also thank you to Arch for informing us.
Yes.
I mean, this podcast is meant to be national and even worldwide at times, the way that CRL is. So we always want to make sure we're covering, hosting, and showcasing every single player and student that we can in the world. And then the nation. So what I also will say is throw down the teams for like one quick second. This right here is what college esports is supposed to be. It's supposed to be developmental. It's supposed to be your 2K, your 2.1s, your 2.2s, and then you're supposed to win based off of playing like a full team. That's what college esports and that's what college athletics, in my opinion, is supposed to be. So even though the West Coast is not as quote unquote developed or as funded as the East is, I actually enjoy these types of tournaments more, and I am very excited for teams like CSUN and UCLA, where I recognize, like, CSUN, I see them in ranked every season. Wano, I see him in 2s and 3s every season. ESOC, Epic Meow, like, those are names that are very talented, and I'm excited for them. UCLA as well. But this is where your teams who are more established, like a San Diego State, even like in Arizona, that's where they should shine through as the experienced rosters. They're going to have to play above their pay grade to get out of this one easily.
And there is another event happening as well. This one's hosted by SDSU, is why I got my wires crossed. They're hosting Aztec Spring Games Rocket League tournament. That's April 19th. So if you're out in the area of San Diego, make sure you check out the Aztec Gaming SDSU Twitter and get involved with them, because SDSU, I mean, they're a big hosting school when it comes to events. Like, we've got a lot of those on the East Coast, but San Diego State do a lot for not being well supported compared to some of the other programs. So definitely worth shouting out on the podcast. But that's West Coast Rocket League. TJ, got any more thoughts on the matter before we move on?
Well, before we get to our last point, no, I mean, I'm very, very happy that the West Coast is where it's at. I'm glad that schools are starting to pour into esports more often, that we're starting to see, like, San Diego State, they should be a face in the scene. They absolutely should be a representative as a D1 school. They have very talented players. They have really, really cool colors and logos. Like, they have all of the tools to be a representative in the nation, to be a future Boise State, if you will, in terms of pioneers in their region. I just, I hope they only keep on growing from here. So rooting for them, absolutely.
All right. Well, similar to what some local news programs do, we wanted to end tonight's show on a positive note. We've ended on a lot of negative notes this semester with some of the stuff going on in the scene. But everyone check this out. This is something Cumberland posted now about a week ago. But I love this story. And the fact that Cumberland is posting about it. And the picture of Nightya, obviously, reading to elementary school children. This is so sweet that Cumberland is doing this for the community, and I don't think there's any better champion of this sort of charitable event than Nightya. And I don't recognize the other players, but we'll shout them out too. I'm sure there's Next in the Cumberland program. Look at him. Like, Next looks like he hates the kids, unfortunately, in this picture. But I'm sure he's very happy to be reading to them. But Papa Nightya here, making sure all the elementary school kids stay literate in Tennessee. I love this story.
This is how you run a program. If there's any staff members or anyone, and I'm not using chat, I'm glad he is, because he deserves his flowers here. I mean, this is an incredible Collegiate Esports photo. I mean, just this screenshot right here. This is what college programs and college students and education, this is what you're supposed to do, is feed back into the community. Mm-hmm. And if you are a school like Cumberland, where you are a NAIA school, you are smaller, you are private, you have the talent, that is awesome. But they go the extra mile. They show up to regional lands. Like, they're going to be at Volan, I believe, or they were planning on it. I don't know if RLCS took them out or not yet. But they are showing up to regional events. They are pouring back into their community. That is absurdly special. And big shout out to Spencer Claypool, their director, a very good friend of the podcast and a very good friend of both of ours. And even Next, so somebody who, we don't know how Next is feeling. We know he's not playing on the A team as much anymore. So the fact that, these players, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter how they're feeling, no matter how their seasons are going, they are still willing to show up. A huge shout out to Cumberland University, the esports program, Director Claypool, all of the players. This is so special.
And that's our positive note to end the show on this week. Collegiate Esports program should take note from Cumberland for many different reasons, and this is one of those included. And that's all the positive we had planned. You got any final positive stories, TJ? Anything to share before we sign off?
Well, what I can say is DreamHack Atlanta and college competition is very much still in play. For those of you who do not know, DreamHack Atlanta is actually getting doubled up in the same 6-month span. Normally, DreamHack Atlanta is only held in the fall, and DreamHack Dallas takes over in the summer. But the World Cup means that Dallas is not a location that has the space for DreamHack.
They're also redoing the convention center right now in Dallas.
So they're coming back to Atlanta in May. So for any of you who are in the region, please make your way out to Atlanta. We will be running another collegiate competition. More details coming on that publicly in the next few weeks. And that's going to be May 15th through the 17th. And of course, me and my boy DJ are going to be running it back for the 3rd straight year for DreamHack now. So I'm just glad. That's a big positive note. DreamHack is still pouring money and effort into students. Me and DJ are both still undergraduates running this event. And we get the help of wonderful people like Vaudable, like Bepic, like Sam Talks, like Zobi. Somber was there last year. Nutty from Tennessee Chattanooga formerly was there. It is the culmination of community in the Southeast. So please, if you're going to be at DreamHack in May, come say hey. I would love to see all of you guys. And there's going to be some good teams as well. The invite list is looking pretty funny. in a good way and a bad way. There's even a school who's in the top 4 to 5 of CRL who hasn't made their LAN debut yet. Who will in Atlanta? So excited for that.
Big news there. It's happening next month. I think May 15th through 17th, if memory serves, at
George World Congress Center.
So 3rd iteration of the Collegiate Invitational there. I'm stoked to potentially be a part of it. As all I'm saying, I worked 3 of the major lands last semester in the CRL space. I was only paid for one of them directly. Like, some lodging was covered for the others, but DreamHack Atlanta, I was the only one I actually got paid to work. So they're doing it the right way.
Student ran, and we're still paying better than faculty. Let it be known.
All right, everyone. That does it for the Collegiate Exclusive Podcast this week. Make sure you do follow us on Spotify or follow my YouTube channel, MrBepic. I upload there as well. If you do follow us on Spotify, rate it 5 stars. I like seeing the rating number go up. Shout out to those of you that already have. But I'll do it for this week. A lot of CRL stuff to catch up on. We'll keep you informed as the lands of the spring and the CRL of the spring all starts to wrap up here in the next month and a half. We'll see what happens. But for now, for TJ, for myself, thank you all for watching and being an awesome Twitch chat as usual. You guys always rock. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.